to a new edition of our show. My name is Business, as we always say, and business means money. Stability and business mean a lot of money. There is a lot happening in Egypt and around the world, especially that the world's economies are reeling under the repercussions of the COVID-19 that is attacking everybody and the economies, and of course negative effects are taking place. Plus, we see different effects, and problems everywhere, economically speaking, and a lot has been happening, and this is what we're going to be talking about. But first, starting with Egypt. Well, it's important to talk about what's going on economically, definitely in the business-wise, and the interest rates. Different aspects are different things developments are taking place on the local scene. And with us online is Dr. Mohammed Meher, member of the board of directors of the former Egyptian Stock Exchange. Hello, sir. Dr. Meher?
Yes, how are you?
Well, how are you?
Fine.
Sir, how do you see the central bank fixing the interest rate, and why was the stabilization done despite the high inflation?
Yes, actually, despite Egypt started to witness some increase in inflation numbers, but still within the central bank expectations, because central bank formally announced that the target inflation is not to exceed 7%, and we're still within this zone. Also, we are now in a situation that Egypt started to ease the monetary policy in order to stimulate the economy and to start moving forward. Actually, and due to that, I believe he will not increase the interest rate unless there is really bigger threat with regard to inflation. Of course, the inflation is starting to hit some Western countries, especially after oil prices hikes and basic materials also start to increase across the world. So we expect the inflation to come also to Egypt within the coming few months. But fortunately we had some good real interest rates, still higher than our own local inflation. That's why the central bank decided not to change the interest rate for the last meeting last Thursday.
So let me just ask this, how did the list of the top 10 companies in the Egyptian stock market change after the launch of the iFinance?
Yes, after eFinance IPO, it became one of the top 5 companies in the Egyptian Stock Exchange. And I believe within the next meeting of the index committee of the stock exchange, they will add it on the index of EGX30. It is very important that this IPO was one of the first IPOs within the government plan to offer 23 companies, public companies to the market. And the most important also that it is coming is digital and digital payment and technology companies, which enhances the sector with the companies listed in the stock market, and it has covered almost 7 times on the private placement and 61 times on the public offering. Which gives a green light and indicator that the government can go forward with many more IPOs during the coming period for this year and the first quarter of 2022 to start realizing the long-awaited offering plan coming from government.
Yes, Dr. Mohammed Meher, member of the board of directors of the former Egyptian Stock Exchange. Thank you very much for being with us. And our topic, is also what's going on, the G20 summit, and what that means, of course, in light of the COP26 that is going to happen very soon. And what's going on, what does it mean to us, in Egypt and Africa, and a lot to talk about. And that will be with my guest for tonight, Mr. Khalid Abu Hayb, strategic business developer. Welcome, sir, with us.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Pleasure always having you here.
Thank you.
Well, we'll go for a short break after which we'll be coming back. Stay tuned to us. Don't go away. We're coming back in a moment.
The Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank decided in its meeting last Thursday to fix interest rates and maintain the overnight deposit and lending rates and the central bank's main operation rate at the level of 8.25% and 9.25% on overnight lending. This is the 8th consecutive time that the central bank has fixed interest rates, and analysts attributed this to high inflation and the need to maintain high returns on Egyptian debt instruments and expectations that central bank will continue to stabilize until the end of the year. The Egyptian Minister of Petroleum said last Tuesday that the Italian Eni company announced 3 new oil and gas discoveries in the Western Desert. The ministry said that the new discoveries are in the Meleha concession area and southwest of Meleha in the Western Desert in Egypt. They include oil, gas, and condensate discoveries in the Meleha development contract and an oil discovery in the South Meleha concession area. The Arab Organization for Industrialization has established a solar power plant in Tororo country, Uganda, as part of Egypt's keenness to support relations with its brothers in the Nile Basin countries. Lieutenant General Abdelmenem Al-Tarras, president of the Arab Organization for Industrialization, confirmed that the plant that was built operates on the photovoltaic system with a capacity of 4 megawatts, noting that the solar panels installed in the plant are produced by the Arab Renewable Energy Company of the Arab Industrialization, Areco 320, which is characterized by efficiency, observing international quality standards. The US economy grew at its slowest pace in more than a year in the third quarter, with the outbreak of the corona infection further straining global supply chains and causing shortages of goods such as cars that nearly choked consumer spending. Strong inflation fueled by shortages across the economy and pandemic relief money from the government over the course of the public health crisis has hampered growth. Ebbing fiscal stimulus and Hurricane Ida, which devastated U.S. marine energy production in late August, have also hit the American economy. Gold prices hovered in near 1,800 US dollars level, supported by the decline of the US dollar as investors evaluated the Federal Reserve's possible reaction to inflationary pressures after its chairperson said that inflation may continue for longer than expected. Gold is seeing some short-term momentum as some investors are looking for a hedge against inflation and see gold as one of the potential things to offer that he said, adding that 1,830 US dollars is a key resistance if gold crosses 1,800. Wheat prices rose in Euronext at the end of trading last Tuesday to the highest level since 2008, affected by fears of a lack of supply. Wheat prices were also supported by the decline in the euro and the increase in European exports, while traders are watching whether the major importers, Egypt and Algeria, will soon return to issuing purchase bids. American President Joe Biden's energy security advisor said that Russian President Vladimir Putin is close to using natural gas as a potential tool if Russia does not send fuel to energy-scarce Europe. Host Chine said gas prices in Europe are rising not only because of events in the region, but also because of the dry season in China, which reduced energy production from hydropower sources, as well as the increasing global competition for natural gas.
Welcome back again to Money Means Business and what's going on. Actually, there is the G20 summit taking place, and UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, French President Emmanuel Macron, German Chancellor Angela Merkel, and US President Joe Biden met on the sidelines of the G20 summit in Rome to discuss the next steps on Iran's nuclear program. Not only that, the COVID-19, other issues, of course, they are talking about. And also, very important, the G20 summit will be more discussing environmental transformation, which is going to be the focus of the G20 summit in Rome, or it is the focus of the G20 summit in Rome, ways to reduce greenhouse emissions, to resolve declared internal, the goals, investment goals. Then also they talked about training it's very needed to see like the revolution, to cope with the revolution along with the digital revolution actually, and the ambitions that investments required. But you know, some comment and say that the G20 is a closed club and nothing happens. So it's important to see, really talk about that and you know, brainstorm and talk about especially that this is going to be, of course, the topic of the COP26. That is very important, and there are complicated challenges, of course, in this area. We have with us Mr. Khaled Bouhaib, a strategic business developer, who's going to be talking to us about that, a lot about this.
Yes.
But let me ask you first, you know, we said every time, you know, you came here to my show when you were just, you know, like newly came back to Egypt after long years away from Egypt in different countries.
True.
And I keep asking you, again, what attracted you? Do you regret coming back to Egypt?
Okay. First of all, thank you for having me in your show. It's been a pleasure. And I remember the first time, it's over 2 years now. I think it was in March of 2019. And after 2 years, you're asking the same question, do you regret coming back here? I think Egypt right now, honestly speaking, is living one of the best times ever seen in my life. And this is coming out of my heart for everyone who's living abroad, especially living in America, which is the dream place for a lot of people, and compare it with what's happening right now in Egypt. Egypt, we are living a success story. When I was growing up in the 60s, we always read about the stories in the newspapers, but in reality, nothing was happening.
Yeah.
During President Sadat, God bless his soul, we start to have some hope. Then things completely changed. Now we are living true developing, true victorious things in a lot of channels. And there is a lot being said about it, but it is not enough, because the reality of it and the magnitude by all means surpass a lot of people to comprehend and to understand. And if we take, when we first spoke on your show here, it was the corona epidemic.
Yeah.
And I remember clearly Bloomberg came up on that day saying Egypt is going to go in bankruptcy.
Yeah.
And there is no way. And the
When I was asking you, you say no. It's like
Yes,
there's always hope, and things are going to be better for Egypt.
Yes, and
Yeah.
we spoke about solutions, and the solution we spoke about were completely outside the box.
Yeah.
And no one thought about it. And your program is on air, so we didn't prepare anything, but it came out of passion, it came out of soul, it came out from the spirit of the people who made the glorious October War. We have a challenge, we're gonna surpass it. So, and this is actually what happened. We spoke, Bloomberg said, and the people didn't want to buy our stocks, and they were asking very high, double the return.
Yeah.
And because it was very simple. Egypt economy depends on Suez Canal. Suez Canal is almost closed because of the epidemic. It depends on the people who lives in the Gulf. They are back returning. Depends on construction. There is no construction. The workers are closed. And everything depending on the gas and oil. And gas and oil went always by the negative. But when we came up and we said, no, there's a lot of resource. We need to take that time as a challenge and actually to invest in the infrastructure. And God willing, thank God, this went, and it happened all over the history. And Germany was completely brought up after the biggest depression. Now we have our administrative capitals almost getting ready. We have all these highways. We have all these logistics. We are speaking about the G20 and about the climate change. All our now the trains and the monorail and the speed train which is coming up,
Let
and
me
which is
say,
all of this is
exactly.
green energy.
Yes, the green
Yes.
energy. And then in this show, you coined the word or the term, well, the New Republic.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that's like, this is to describe the status quo, what's happening.
Yes.
So we are really in the New Republic, and then became, this is, the name of, what
Yes,
we go
of the
through.
era.
Definitely.
Yes, I remember on that day where everything was almost like black around us, and this Bloomberg report came out, and all these financial institutions refusing to borrow Egypt money, and we spoke about some steps need to be taken, and we said, by all means, if we succeed in this, this is the new republic. This is a completely new Egypt, and which we didn't live before. It is completely new, and we are living it right now, and we can start to see things are growing in front of our eyes. We said, okay, here is the plan, here is the logistic things where need to make Egypt the gate to Africa. I remember that terminology. And after President Sisi spoke in front of the G20 in 2019, and we laid out all the outlines, and now all our plan, most of it is green and cutting all the carbon emission. So with the the green buses, most of it is going to be all green buses, natural gas and electric. Most importantly, made and manufactured in Egypt. We doing the trains, the monorail from the capital downtown till October, then the high-speed trains all over Egypt, and the buses and the cars. Everything is turning, and you feel the things for the first time. For the people who lived abroad and who are listening to me from overseas, overseas we have plans. You can see things are falling into place. Yes, now things are falling into places.
Yeah.
It's so definitely it's the new dawn of the new republic.
Definitely.
Yes.
And also, like with the new capital,
Yes.
now, like being ready and more, like now, like.
You remember we
Yes.
renamed it the administrative capital of Africa.
Exactly.
Not only of Egypt.
Yeah,
It is
yeah.
of Africa.
That's true. That's true.
Yes.
And it is, the administrative capital of Africa. It will be that.
Yes.
Definitely. Well, now, with the G20 and all that, and talking about the gas emissions and COP26 and all that, like these are recommendations. But then this is the G20. Like the well, some would say that this is a closed club and nothing is happening but talk between them. And of course, they're not going. It's a lot of hard work to talk about curbing the gas emissions and the greenhouses and trying to curb the 1.5 degrees that is just heating the world and creating damage everywhere. What's going on?
What's going on? There is politics always taught us there's things to be said to the public, and there's always a lot behind closed doors. Let's see the circumstances where this G20 is meeting. Today, you just said that Macron, President of France, just met Joe Biden, President of the United States. This summit is being held where the United States, France, withdraw its ambassador from the United States. It is the biggest argument in history between the United States and the French Republic.
Yeah.
And with this happening, you have now a completely new side being came up, which is England and United States and Australia. This is how this is going to weigh on the G20, on the closed doors, and also what's happening in China. What's all of this
Exactly.
catastrophic thing which happening in
Yeah,
China,
yeah.
and how this thing is going to evolve in us.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot of things happening. When you see this, put these small things happening, especially between France and the United States, and you zoom out and look at Africa, and so say, okay, there is a revolution in Mali, a French territory. There is a revolution coming out last couple of weeks in Guinea-Conakry, French territory. There is turbulence wherever there is a French colony used to be. It has been changing.
Yes.
So
yes.
it is much more happening behind the doors in the G20 over there with the presidents, and also how these countries now is going to need to start to develop.
Yeah.
These are all youth who are taking over Mali, who are taking over Conakry. Very young youth are taking over there, and they have a lot of ambition to take their country, and they have a lot of dreams to take their country and their people up to the front. And what's happening to our southern borders in Sudan? So there is a lot of changing. It is not just that the French withdraw the French ambassador from the United States. No, when you see this happening, a lot has been happening around us.
Yeah.
And guess what?
Yeah.
We, touch wood, we are the stablest place in Africa. With all of this turbulence happening, 72 hours ago, President Sisi announced the end of the emergency situation in Egypt. So if you are an investor from outside and looking, okay, where to invest?
Yeah,
We
with
said
all
there's
the turbulence around us, we're just going our way, smoothly. It looks as if it's smoothly with a lot of work.
it is a lot of work,
Yeah.
and let's just be clear like a white light.
Yeah.
Without the armed forces and the police, strong
Yeah.
policing
Yeah.
on the ground, and the law of enforcement, we are not going anywhere. We are getting this because of our army and our police, and things are in place.
Yeah. Well, we go for a short break with a report on the G20, and we come back and resume our talk. Stay tuned to us. Don't go away. We're coming back in a moment.
The Group of 20 or G20 is holding its summit this year in Rome for the first time since the outbreak of the corona pandemic, amid intense security reinforcements and the absence of the leaders of China, Japan, Mexico, Russia, and Saudi Arabia. This summit will focus on climate, combating COVID-19, and economic recovery on the eve of the International Climate Conference, COP26, which will be held in Glasgow, Scotland. Italian Prime Minister Mario Draghi said the G20 summit represents the return of multilateralism after dark years of isolation and isolation linked to the health crisis, where Draghi announced that the issue of environmental transformation will receive the focus of the G20 summit. Draghi added in a meeting with union officials last Wednesday that the G20 participants will discuss ways to reduce greenhouse gas emissions to achieve the declared international goals. He added that Europe acted with great determination in this regard. However, the climate crisis can only be addressed if all G20 countries decide to act in a synchronized, coordinated, and courageous manner. He believed that it was necessary to focus on training to create the skills needed to face the environmental revolution along with the digital revolution. The Italian Prime Minister noted that these historic changes require ambitious investments, as the Next Generation Fund has been launched in the European Union. This project is a €750 billion plan to finance development projects and reforms, as well as promote innovation, bridge regional gaps, and encourage the employment of the most vulnerable segments of the population in the labor market, including youth and women.
Humongous changes took place and are still taking place in Egypt amid the turbulence taking place around our Egypt, our nation. Yet a lot of development is taking place, and we're not sucked in by any kind of turbulences around. We're focused on our own target, and our new republic is determined to be the new administrative capital, not only of Egypt, to the whole of Africa. And Egypt is coming back to its normal place. Wow. Now, like we were talking about our backbone, our defender, well, the police and the army. And remember very well, not so long ago, 10 years ago probably, that was the time in 2011, and what happened in order to break our police, to break our army, and to dismantle everything, just to go with a certain plan to destroy Egypt. However, we did not go after that. The people were very, very much alert to this, and they just, acted in a surprising way. And we chose our president, and life, went on the way we like, and we are just going on a trail that is, that is just accomplishing a lot, actually.
You are absolutely right and correct. And we are in the last days of month of October. 40 years ago, they said Egypt is completely gone. and the name of Egypt is much easier to be erased from the maps. This country will not go to war. This country, there is by no means they're gonna take back their land. By all means, they cannot rebuild their country. And it is not in the mathematics, but if we can say it, it is the Egyptian factor,
Yeah.
which cannot be explained except if you live and you are from Egypt. There comes a president who believes in his people, took all the ruins and really made out of them, and we saw the glorious 6th of October war and what came out of it. And it is the same brains who said that cannot do anything. They are the one who make that incredible miracle by all means. Now when we're sitting and we see the Suez Canal and you sitting on the beaches on the canal and seeing the boats and having some baths and saying, wow, how this is gonna happen? How we conquered all of that, how we fought against Israel, how we fought against the Americans, how we came to that. It is the same thing. And then came a period where the deep state was just to destroy this effort from inside and this energy. And they succeeded. And came back a president. People collected him. They start to resurrect this Egyptian factor. He resurrected that soul again. And if you see in the past 24, 36 months, and let's be honest ourselves, and everybody who's listening to us and everybody who's in the streets need to be listening to us, where did this slums or places around the highways, around the roads went? Now you see mega highways. These people before used to demonstrate because they don't want to go out of their homes from these slums. Now they took them, they made new areas, development for them, new, how can I say, beautiful buildings where they can live and have hope.
Yeah.
Now these things are moving, and when you go around Cairo right now, every day it's just going, and I don't want to say every day, it is every hour, it's by the minute. When we are talking here close to midnight, there are people right now working and building new highways, building new buildings, building towns, building cities, because there is no time. It is the same Egyptian factor, which was having training 24 hours to cross the canal and to make. We are in the fight and we will continue going. And the most important thing, that the level of not truth, the level of believing your chief in command. I spent some time in the army, but so I believe in my chief in command. But the citizen, normal citizen, hears a lot. But now he hears a lot. I was just talking with somebody a couple of days ago and about this one of the slums people, and I knew that the president went after Dawn a couple of years ago and he sat with the people and spoke to them. So who did that before? And he moved them in a much better places where he can get education, when they can get some health care, and it is moving and moving in every direction.
Definitely, and it's called dignified life, and it is a dignified life.
Yes.
Just turning from a life of misery and poverty to something else. Like you have, as an Egyptian, you have to live a dignified life. It's very important.
Yes. Sometimes people say, oh, the people are asking too much when you go on the social media, or, oh, he should do this, the government should do this. Okay, could you take a breath here?
Yeah.
When did you start to say that? When you start to see things happening.
Yeah.
And when you start to see things happening and you start to believe in your leadership, things start to, you don't want to now go into steps. Now you want to run?
Yeah.
No, take it easy. It doesn't go like that.
Yeah.
So when a lot of people take the criticism which is being said to the government as a criticism, no, actually it is a positive sign. It means that the people start to trust the system and they want much more from it. Okay, that's a great sign. And they should do this instead of that. They should build this type of hospitals. Okay, Since when we did have all of this hospitals here? Since when we did have all of this education systems here? Since when we did have all of this new cities and buildings and factories? And don't forget that we, not only that, we are rebuilding the whole infrastructure of
Exactly.
Egypt. And one of the things
Totally.
you were talking about of the G20
Yeah.
is to digitalize everything to make it
Yes.
green emission.
Yes.
So not only digitalizing, but to make a digital transformation is to understand what's coming out of it, to make it really work for the good of the people. So all of this, and we are just healing our wounds from inside and going up. All of this because there is a belief in a leadership. The same thing which happened during the October War,
Yeah.
it is happening again. And believe me, nobody want to look behind. It is going to the
No,
front and it's
no.
going.
Exactly. We go forward, nobody goes back.
Yes, yes,
Well,
yes.
we know we were just also talking about digitalization of everything.
Yes.
What's the situation now here? With the, of course, I know that lots of development, the smart villages, being built, and also what's going on? What will happen to Africa with all that? The G20, the effect, on Egypt and Africa, definitely.
Definitely. 2 days ago, speaking about digitalization, it was the Smart Cities Expo.
Yeah.
2 days, just 2 days ago. And in a couple of weeks, there's going to be coming the ICT Expo of Egypt. And currently there is another one, big expo happening in California, then another one will be in Honolulu. What I'm trying to say, it is a lot of things happening, but Egypt is taking its place of that. And we are racing the time. We're going against the time. All the infrastructure with the Hayek Arena of the president saying in all the villages, 4,000 villages coming at once, all together, to all infrastructure in all over Egypt, in big cities, small cities, villages, tiny mini villages, small villages, whatever size it is, everything is going up on the same time simultaneously. When all of these things gonna happen and we're gonna have this real quick internet and the infrastructure with the fiber optics, with all it needs, this is gonna be the lead of Africa.
Yeah.
Now comes the rest of Africa. You need a place to store your information. Egypt is the place. You need the place to have electricity. We can export you electricity. There you need a place to have a data center. Egypt is the place to be. So when the epidemics started with the COVID, with all of these challenges, with the financial challenges we have, now we're talking, by all means, we are ready to be the capital of Africa. Egypt is the gate to Africa by all means.
Definitely.
And don't forget that we are still in the dawn of the new republic.
Definitely. And that means a lot, For those people who don't understand what it means, well, then no more if they're not really aware of what it really means.
Yes.
This is
As long as they don't interrupt, let them say
Exactly.
whatever they want to say.
Exactly.
But when they listened to what was said by the administration in the past 24 months and what is really accomplished, wow. It is, cannot believe it. Cannot believe it, really, really, really. And all of this at the end is gonna come lower gas emission, much more clean and green environment. And that is what's coming out from the G20, from said to the public or behind the closed doors.
exactly.
Yes.
And well, looking at that and the accomplishments that have been made, a lot of work is still being made. Well, as you said, those who don't know what I meant is like those who don't really understand the meaning, but will understand it with those, open-minded, who really would like, well, maybe they were objected to some things and they've got some fears, but then, this is, all kind of validated, some things, but then they saw the change, the positive change and development, and they understood and just, like they were really backing it up. As for the others who were trying to interrupt for no reason but to interrupt and create havoc, those agents of evil, let's say, or those who have agendas,
Yes.
then this is, they just try to create havoc. But where the train is going, as you said, and as we know, then the state of emergency is cancelled for the first
Yes.
time since very long years.
Yes.
That's a very great indication. They try whatever they want, but they're not going to succeed with well, what they did, is like minimized, because more of the objection, those who objected are seeing the results, the positive results.
I'm going to give you a very simple example, and take my word and even count the days if you want. Within 3 or 4 months before this coming spring,
Yeah.
we're talking about unemployment. The rate of unemployment is going to be decreased sharply. Right now, in the labor market, in the workforce market, in the daily people who work every day, carpenters, painters,
Yeah.
now start to have a shortage. You know why? Because I don't remember the number, how many billions of dollars are being pumped all together simultaneously in 4,000 villages. They need to be paved. A lot of them need to be rebuilt. A lot of them need infrastructure, taking the old wires, putting fiber optics, putting the network components, the painters, the plumbers. Where are you going to get people for all of that?
Exactly.
Now, their salaries are doubled than 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Before the end of the year, big thing is going to happen, is the election in Libya. With the election in Libya, we're having 3 million of the Egyptian workforces are going immediately to Libya. So guess what? By January, February, March next year, 3 million will be working in Libya. People working on 4,000 villages here in Egypt building, plus the new capital, plus the roads, plus Al Alamein, plus new Mansoura, plus new Aswan, plus what's going all over this. How are we going to get workforce for that?
Of course.
So it is happening. It's just a matter of days.
Definitely.
So again, it's the new republic. It's the dawn of the new republic.
So that was a great, name actually, and this is, like qualifying the
Yes.
status quo, what's happening.
Yes.
Definitely,
yes,
definitely.
yes.
Well, like talking about Africa and
Yes.
Egypt, of course, which is in Africa,
Definitely.
and the Arab countries, and all together. How do you see the future? We've been talking about that, definitely. But then from now, with the new republic, the dawn of the new republic, the cancellation of the state of emergency, whatever happens outside does not concern us, but we've got our own aims that we're not the targets, that we're not deviating from, and we really have our eyes and our hands and feet and everything, just following up what's going on in Egypt and our targets.
The people mass, the crowds, all over the places telling their governments, why we're not doing like Egypt, like what happened in Libya. Okay, let's stop fighting, let's sit, let's talk, let's come up with a government.
Yeah.
Okay, Sudan, they have to sit together
Yeah.
and to say, okay, this is what happened in Egypt. The youth in Africa saw the transition in Egypt, and the people come here to Egypt to work, to get education in Azhar University, and goes back over there and said, no, Egypt is changing. So they go
Sure.
back to their countries and they ask for change. You see that, like, as I told you, like what's happening in Mali, like what happened in Guinea-Conakry, like what happened in West Africa. Everybody is asking, actually demanding, we need to be like, take the Egyptian, see what the Egyptian done, and we need it. So there is a lot of change in power in Africa,
Yeah.
and a lot of them is coming the youth, and it's time now to Egypt to extend its hands to them, then okay, here is the agenda. This is what you need to do. And
I don't think President Sisi misses, any
oh
opportunity
no,
of doing
definitely, and we support everybody who's going on to the right direction. It is for the good of the people of Africa.
Yeah.
We are the head of the African countries. We are Africa. We are the gate of Africa.
Of course.
It is just not words, and no, this is who we are.
Definitely.
Yes.
Well, Mr. Khalid Al-Buaib, thank you very much for being with us. It's always a pleasure having you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, and I'd like to thank our viewers. And as we always end, God bless Egypt, God bless Egyptians, God bless our army, our backbone, our police, our white army, and as we quote from the Holy Quran, ادخلوا مصر إن شاء الله آمنين, enter Egypt, God willing, safe. And from the Holy Bible, Mubarak Sha'bi Misr, blessed be Egypt, my people. I'm Nermin Nazim signing off. We'll see you again next week. Goodbye for now.